For whatever you want to say about the win on Sunday, a 29-12 slugfest over a very banged up Cleveland Browns team, the Denver Broncos have now won 5 games in a row and find themselves squarely back in the AFC playoff picture. Cody Roark from Locked On Broncos joins me now. And Cody, this is a Denver team that in September looked fully dead in the water. And over the last month and a half, have clawed their way back into this thing. What has been the number one thing that has changed for them to get them to this point?
I think they've shut out a lot of the noise, Peter. Once they were 1-4, 1-5, there's a lot of noise from local media. There was a lot of noise from the fan base, a lot of noise from national media. And these guys they got to work and they stuck with it. Like they have a belief in one another and they've just decided, you know what, like we know what type of team we can be. We haven't played to that standard. We need to find a way to get to that. There's obviously been some personnel changes from a player standpoint defensively for Denver. I'd say health has been a big part of it too. Denver's been healthy. They haven't had a lot of injuries and they've been clean and coming out of every game. So that's been a good sign for them. But I would even say like a bigger thing is that the Broncos defense, which was giving up astronomical numbers early on in the season.
Yeah. Record-setting numbers.
It was awful there. They went from Vance Joseph calling Vic Fangio and Ejiro Evro's defense to calling his own defense, showing some Fangio looks and breathing his terminology to it. And all of a sudden the players have picked up with it and they've ran with it. And it's paid dividends for them so far in this turnaround.
There's going to be a lot of Russell Wilson talk in this conversation as well. And some of the stat lines in these games, frankly, look like early career Russell Wilson, less than they did 2013, 2014, let Russ cook Russell Wilson. But how has he managed to right the ship? Because even from Sunday, for example, 13 of 22 for 131 and a touchdown, also running a lot more, scored on the ground as well. They're not going to light anyone's world on fire, but that's a marked improvement from what we saw last year.
Yeah, look, Russ is playing clean, efficient football right now. He's not putting the ball in harm's way in the passing department. He's got 17 touchdowns, 0 interceptions this season inside the red zone. I think 34 of 50 completions. But the thing is, everyone's like, oh, he's not putting up a lot of yards. He doesn't have to because he's playing clean. He's moving them down the field. He's using his legs. But the Broncos have also really relied a lot on the run game. Coming into the season, the idea was for this offense under Sean Payton to be run the football because that's the identity Sean Payton's teams have had. And then you can open up things in the passing game. Well, early on in the season when Denver trailing by 2+ scores early on in each game, they had to abandon the run game. Well, now that they've been playing better defensively, they're in games. They're taking advantage. They're running the football. They're running it well, over 169 yards on the ground against a very stingy and tough Cleveland Browns defense this past weekend. And that's kind of playing things into it. So it is opening up Russ in the pass game. So when he is passing, he's taking what the defense is giving him. He's taking some shots from time to time, but he's just playing clean and efficient football. And he's not turning the football over. One of the best touchdown to interception ratios right now in the NFL. We talk about let Russ cook. I mean, he's the chef right now, but he's not like preparing like a 5-star gourmet meal. He's getting the job done. It's a simple, hey, let's throw something on the stove. Let's throw something on the oven and let's just, hey, let's have dinner. Like Russ is playing really good football right now. Denver's benefiting in a big way from it.
Yeah. Grab the leftover chili. Let's see what we can make with this thing. They're scheduled to close. They've got to play the Chargers twice in division. They've got the Lions. They've got the Texans coming up here. But this win over Cleveland, who currently sits in the 6th spot in the AFC, Denver just on the outside of that top 7 looking in. They're tied in that 7th spot, but would be out as of this moment. What is there a number? Do you want to put a number on it? Do you think they need to get in here? Beat Houston is job one.
Yeah, no, that's the huge thing for this week. Obviously, a very talented Houston Texans team. D'Amico Ryan's done a tremendous job in his first season there. CJ Stroud is lighting it up. Denver, their conference record, Peter, is 3-4 right now. That's obviously a huge hindrance to them. They lost to the Raiders in week 1. They lost to the Jets in week 5, which those will come back to haunt them potentially. Their room for error is very minimal, but 5 of their 6 remaining games are against AFC opponents. You mentioned 3 of those being AFC West divisional matchups. If Denver takes care of business against the Texans, they'll be in one of that 7th seed spot as it goes into week 14. But then, you got to beat the Chargers. You got to beat the Lions, even though it's a non-conference game. And then you got to finish out, obviously, taking care of the Patriots, the Chargers again, and then the Raiders to close out the season. And I think the storyline is going to ride itself, but Denver has to, the 5-game win streak is great. they're going to have to keep extending this win streak. They can maybe only afford, in my opinion, Peter, to lose one more game in the last 6 weeks. That's going to be a tough ask because you know how hard it is to win in the NFL. So they got their work cut out for them.
Stay up to date all year on the Denver Broncos by subscribing to Locked On Sports today and Locked On Broncos on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube.